1. Introduction. My name is Allison. I am 24 years old. This is an important time because I am making a big change in my life. I am traveling to Europe for the very first time. I am traveling alone, which is also new for me. I needed to leave my old city and my old life behind. I needed a fresh start. I wanted to find true freedom. I wanted to see the world and feel different in a new place. My journey starts now. I am sitting on the train that goes from London to Paris. This train is very fast. I look out of the window. The sky is gray, but the sun is trying to come out. The English countryside is moving very fast outside the glass. I watch fields, trees, and small houses disappear quickly as the train moves forward. I think about the future. I feel a mix of feelings inside me. I feel very excited about Paris. Paris is a famous city, and I always wanted to go there. I imagine walking by the river and seeing the tall, beautiful buildings. This excitement makes my heart beat quickly and strongly. But I also feel nervous. Traveling alone is difficult sometimes. I do not speak French very well, only a few words. I have only one large bag, and everything I need for my new start is inside it. I am leaving everything I know behind me. This nervousness sits in my stomach like a small, cold stone. I hope I made the right choice to travel and search for a new life. The train goes into a dark tunnel. When we come out of the darkness, the light is much stronger. We are moving closer to the water. Soon, we will be traveling under the sea, going toward France. I close my eyes for a moment. I think about what freedom really means. Freedom means making my own decisions. Freedom means not looking back at the past and only looking forward. I open my eyes again and look at the other people on the train. They all look busy or tired. They do not look like they are starting a completely new life. They look like they are just going home or going to work. I feel special because my trip is different. My goal is not just a place. My goal is a new feeling about myself. I put my headphones on, but I do not play any music. I just listen to the sound of the train moving on the tracks. It is a steady, strong sound. It sounds like a promise. It promises movement and big change. I do not know what will happen in Paris. I do not know who I will meet. I do not know if I will find the freedom I am looking for. I am just a young woman on a train. I am just Allison. I am just 24. I am traveling from one country to another. I watch the gray sky turn brighter and brighter. I do not know this simple train journey will change my life forever. I do not know that tonight I will meet someone who changes everything I believe. I just sit and wait for the journey to end. I wait for Paris. 2. A man on the train. A man walked into the train car. He was tall and looked very calm. He was handsome, too. He stopped near my seat. His name was Richard. He sat down in the seat across from mine. I felt a little warm in my face and I felt shy. I looked out the window quickly, feeling nervous but also excited. When I looked back, Richard was looking at me. His eyes were soft and kind. He smiled a little. I smiled back immediately. We began to talk. The conversation started slowly, with easy topics. We talked about our work. I told him that I wanted to write stories. He told me that he worked with computers in his job. We talked about travel and why we were going to Paris. He asked me if this was my first trip to Europe. I said yes. It was my first time traveling alone. Richard listened very carefully when I spoke. His voice was deep and nice to hear. He asked me about my dreams for the future. I asked him about his plans for the trip. It felt very easy to talk to him. I felt safe and comfortable almost immediately. I felt a strong connection to him very fast. It felt too fast, maybe. I usually do not talk about personal things with people I do not know. But Richard did not feel like a stranger after only 10 minutes of talking. We laughed at a few small jokes. Richard's laughter was clear and friendly. He made me feel happy and relaxed about my journey. The train moved quickly across the land. Outside, the trees and fields moved past us like a fast film. But inside the train car, it felt quiet and small. It felt like the train was only for us. We forgot about the other people traveling near us. We only saw each other and listened to each other's words. We talked for a long time. Time passed quickly when we were speaking. I liked the way his hair fell over his forehead when he looked down to think. I looked at his hands when he moved them while he spoke. Everything about him was calm. This calmness made me less nervous about my own life and my big trip. I knew this feeling was special. It was more than just talking to a man on the train. It was like we were two people meant to find each other on this journey. We talked until the sun started to go down outside the window. The train lights came on, making the cabin feel warm and soft. I hoped the journey would last much longer. I did not want our special conversation to end. 3. We arrive in Paris. The train started to slow down slowly. I looked out the window. It was dark outside now, but the city was full of light. The train moved into the very big station. I saw many yellow and white lights everywhere. This was Paris. The city lights made the buildings look golden and beautiful. It felt warm and very exciting to be here. The loud noise of the train stopped. Richard turned to me and smiled. His eyes were kind and soft. He asked me a simple question. "Do you want to walk with me?" he said. I felt a quick surprise. We had only spoken for a few hours. It was a crazy idea to walk away with a man I just met, but I felt very safe with him. I liked his calm voice and the way he looked at me. I did not need time to think. I said yes right away. I wanted to start exploring Paris with him. The train stopped completely. Many people stood up fast. They quickly grabbed their bags and coats. The air in the cabin became very busy and noisy. I took my small bag from the high rack above my seat. Richard took his coat and waited for me by the door. He was patient and did not hurry me. We walked together down the narrow aisle toward the exit. We stepped onto the busy platform. The station was huge and full of noise. It was called Gare du Nord. Hundreds of people walked very fast, rushing to meet other people or catch other trains. The air smelled different here, like a big city mixed with warm food and coffee. Richard stayed close to me as we walked through the large crowds. We did not need to talk much. We walked side by side toward the main doors. We carried our bags easily through the station hall. We were two strangers in a big new place, but we moved like old friends. It felt very natural to be walking next to Richard. We left the busy train platforms and the noise behind us. We came to the huge glass doors leading outside. The bright street lamps of Paris were shining on the street. We stepped out into the night city together. My new life was finally starting now. 4. A walk at night. We walked away from the busy train station. The air in Paris was cool, but the atmosphere of the city felt warm and welcoming. We walked next to the big river, which is called the Seine. The water looked dark under the many streetlights. We could see many people enjoying the late hour. They were laughing and talking loudly. The city was full of happy life. Richard and I walked slowly side by side. He stopped at a small stand and bought me a warm drink. It was sweet and good. I felt very happy and comfortable standing next to him. We watched some small boats move slowly on the water. Paris at night was truly beautiful. The old buildings shone with golden light. As we walked, we started to talk more deeply. I began to tell Richard things I had never told anyone before in my life. I spoke about my old job and my quiet life in London. I spoke about why I needed this trip to Europe. I told him my biggest dreams for the future. I told him secrets that felt heavy when I kept them inside my heart. Richard did not try to speak over me. He listened very carefully to every word. His soft eyes looked at me, and I felt that he understood everything I said. It was strange. I had met him only a few hours before, but I felt like he knew my true self. He made me feel very safe. He did not judge me for my past choices or my need for change. After a long time, we turned away from the river. We walked into small, quiet streets. These streets were narrow and had tall, old stone buildings on both sides. We saw small, bright cafes with tiny tables placed outside. The sweet smell of coffee and warm food was everywhere around us. It was a beautiful smell. We came to an old bridge and decided to cross it. We stopped in the middle of the bridge for a moment. We looked back at the beautiful lights of the city. Standing there felt very romantic. Richard smiled at me. His smile was gentle and kind. He spoke about how the night felt new and full of possibility. He said that this walk felt very special. I agreed with him completely. I felt excited about what might happen next. The darkness of the night did not feel scary at all. It felt like a promise of something good. We walked for a very long time. My feet were starting to feel tired, but my heart felt light and strong. I wished the walk would never end. Richard made me feel free from my old life. We finally found a small, quiet square where a man was starting to tune his guitar. It was late, but Paris was still wide awake. 5. A special feeling. We walked away from the old bridges and into a new part of the city. The streets here were quiet and dark. We heard music suddenly. It was a man playing a guitar. He sat on the ground near an old lamp post. The music was beautiful and soft. Richard stopped walking. He looked at me and smiled a wide smile. "Do you like the song?" he asked. I said, "Yes, I love it." "It is very happy music." Richard took my hand. His hand felt warm and safe. He pulled me gently toward the center of the quiet street. "We should dance," he whispered. I laughed a little. It was a strange idea, dancing in an empty street at night, but I liked it. We started to move slowly. It was not a fast dance. We moved together easily on the stone street. The guitar player saw us and he smiled. It felt like we were the only two people awake in the whole city of Paris. I forgot about the train journey and my old life. I forgot everything except the music and Richard. I felt a special feeling grow between us. It was strong and fast. It felt dangerous, too, because I had only known him for a few hours. This feeling should not be happening, but it was real. I did not want the feeling to stop. Richard held my hand tighter. He looked into my eyes for a long time. His eyes were soft and kind. I felt like I knew him completely. I felt like I had known this man forever, maybe for 10 years, not just since the afternoon on the train. This thought made my heart beat very fast. It felt like a drum in my chest. I closed my eyes for a moment. I wanted to remember the sound of the guitar and the feel of his hands. This moment was important. I was 24 years old, and this night felt like a dream. Richard leaned closer to me. He whispered something, but I could not hear the words over my fast heartbeat. I only felt his breath near my ear. I opened my eyes and looked at him. I saw the happiness in his face. I knew my face showed the same happiness. The guitar player finished the song. The music stopped and we stood still. Richard did not let go of my hands. The sudden silence was very deep. We stood close together for a long minute. I looked up at the sky. It was very dark now, and the moon was high and bright. Time was moving too quickly. I wished the night would never end. I wished we could stay on that quiet street, dancing to soft music forever. We started walking again, slowly. Every step felt important. The special feeling was still there, strong and true. 6, our night. We walked away from the dancing street. The air was cool now, but my heart felt very warm. Richard looked at me. He did not need to speak. I knew what he meant. We found a small, quiet place. It was far from the busy parts of Paris. We spent the night together. It was a time of deep feeling. Everything felt warm and calm. I felt very safe next to Richard. His arms were strong and kind. I could hear his slow, steady breathing. This sound made me feel peaceful. For many hours, I forgot everything. I forgot my old life in London. I forgot the reasons I traveled alone. The world outside the room did not exist. There were only two people in this small space. We talked in soft voices. We shared more small secrets. I looked at Richard's face in the darkness. I felt a strong connection, like two parts coming together. It was more than friendship. It was a new and important feeling. I thought about the train journey. It was only one day ago, but it felt like 1 year. I wondered how one person could change my heart so fast. Time moved too quickly. I wanted the night to stop. I closed my eyes and wished for darkness to stay. But time does not stop for wishes. Slowly, the sky outside began to change color. A light gray started to appear. I knew what the morning meant. Morning meant the truth. It meant returning to reality. It meant the time was almost over. I did not want to think about saying goodbye. I pushed the sad thought away. I turned to look at Richard again. He was still sleeping quietly. I watched him and tried to remember every small detail. I remembered the way his hair fell. I remembered the gentle curve of his smile when he was sleeping. I wanted to keep this night safe inside my memory. I held his hand tightly. This moment was perfect. It was a gift that I found in a new city with a stranger. Soon, we would need to leave. We would walk back to the busy streets of Paris. The sun would rise fully, and the magic would go away a little. But the feeling of safety stayed with me. I felt stronger now. This night gave me courage. It showed me that I could find happiness, even if it was only for a short time. I waited for the first sound of the city waking up. The waiting was quiet and full of emotion. The room was quiet. I could smell the distant rain from the street. Richard slowly opened his eyes. He looked at me, and his eyes were soft, just like on the train. He did not say anything, but his look said many things. It said thank you. It said goodbye. It said, I will remember this night. We stayed like this for a few more minutes. The first birds started singing outside the window. It was time to face the new day. I felt a mix of happiness for the night and sadness for the coming morning. I knew this was a special memory. 7. A sad goodbye. The morning came too fast. The darkness was leaving, and the sky was turning a soft, beautiful pink color. We knew our time together was ending. We left the warm place where we had spent the night. We started walking back to the busy train station. The streets of Paris were very quiet. There were only a few people walking, starting their day. We walked slowly, side by side. We did not speak many words. Our hearts were full of feelings, but our mouths were silent. Every step we took felt heavy. It was a countdown to the moment we had to stop walking together. We finally arrived at the large station. It was busy now. Hundreds of people moved quickly, pulling bags and checking clocks. We stopped near the ticket barriers. This was the place where we must say goodbye. We looked at each other for a long moment. Richard's face showed his sadness. My own eyes felt hot. I did not want him to leave me. Richard reached out his hand and touched my arm. His voice was low and kind. "Thank you, Allison," he said. "Thank you for this night. It was everything I needed." He kept looking at me, his eyes gentle. I wanted to ask him a big question. I wanted to say, "When will I see you again?" I wanted to give him my telephone number and ask for his. I wanted to make a plan for the future, even a small plan. But the words stayed trapped inside my chest. I could not move my mouth to speak. I just shook my head slightly, trying to show him how much I felt. I managed a small, sad smile. It was the only way I could answer him. Richard understood. He did not push me to speak. He smiled back, a gentle and painful smile that showed he felt the same sadness. He leaned closer and kissed my forehead very softly. It was a final kiss, not a kiss of promise. Then he let go of my hand. He turned his back to me. He started walking away, moving quickly toward the trains. He walked with purpose, not looking back even once. I stood still, watching him go. He was tall, but the large crowd of people moving through the station started to hide him. One moment he was there, and the next moment he was only a memory being swallowed by the busy morning. I watched the spot where he disappeared for a long time. The sun was now fully up over the city of Paris. The beautiful, short story was truly finished. 8. A lesson for my heart. I left Paris later that day. I sat on a different train, moving away from the city. I watched the countryside move quickly past the window. My feelings were mixed. I felt both happy about the memory and a little bit sad about the goodbye. I knew that Richard was gone now. I did not know where he went after he left the station. I did not know if I would ever see his kind face again. This thought made my heart feel heavy, but I did not feel truly unhappy. I thought about the night we spent together. It was only a very short time. It was less than 24 hours from the moment we first spoke on the train. But those few hours felt very important. They felt like a turning point in my life. This very short moment taught me a valuable lesson. I learned that sometimes a quick meeting can change everything. A simple night can teach you more about yourself than many years of living. Before Richard, I was a person who planned everything carefully. I was often afraid to try new things. I liked to stay safe. But Richard was a stranger. Taking his hand and walking with him was a big risk. It was crazy, but it felt completely right. He did not know my old life. He only saw the person I was right then in that moment in Paris. Because of him, I saw a new part of myself. I saw that I could be brave. I could be free. I could share my secrets and trust someone quickly. I did not need to wait a long time to feel a deep connection. Richard was like a mirror. He showed me the real Allison, the one who wanted adventure and freedom. This memory of that night became a secret treasure for me. It was a story just for my heart. I realized that the best stories do not always need a long ending that lasts forever. Some stories are perfect because they are short. They are like a bright, fast firework in the night sky. They shine so brightly, and then they are gone, but you remember the powerful light forever. I looked out at the train window again. Paris was far behind me now. I felt thankful for the short time we had. Richard gave me a gift of confidence. He gave me a lesson about following my heart, even if it felt scary. I knew my long journey was just beginning. I carried the lesson of that one wonderful night with me. It was a lesson for my heart that would stay in my memory forever. I was ready for the next adventure.